Ladies and gentlemen, there comes a time in life when you've got to stop waiting for people to clap for you, stop waiting for the world to validate you, and stop waiting for someone to tell you that you're good enough. You've spent too much energy pouring into places that never poured back, chasing people who were never meant to go with you, and trying to fix situations that were designed to break you. If you really want to see change, if you truly want to step into your next season, you've got to focus on yourself and grow. Growth doesn't happen when you keep comparing your chapter 1 to somebody else's chapter 20. Growth doesn't happen when you're busy scrolling through the highlight reels of other people's lives. Growth happens when you learn to invest in yourself, your mind, your spirit, your vision, your purpose. Some of you are carrying seeds of greatness, but you've been too distracted to water them. You've been too busy worrying about who left you, who doesn't like you, and who doesn't support you. But let me tell you this, the very thing you think you lost was often the pruning God used to make room for new fruit in your life. You can't grow if you're holding on to dead branches. This is the season to focus. Focus doesn't mean selfishness. It means clarity. It means you're no longer going to let the noise of the world drown out the whisper of your destiny. It means you're going to prioritize your peace, your health, your growth, and your calling. Because if you don't grow, you'll keep repeating cycles. And if you don't invest in yourself, you'll keep waiting for someone else to give you permission to shine. Stop apologizing for evolving. Stop shrinking to make other people comfortable. Stop dimming your light so others won't feel insecure. You owe it to yourself and to the God who created you to grow into the fullest version of who you are. Focus on yourself, because when you do, the right people, the right opportunities, and the right doors will find you. Growth is not accidental. It doesn't just show up one morning and surprise you like an unexpected guest at your door. Growth is intentional. Growth requires decision. And above all, growth requires focus. You can't build your future while your attention is scattered. You can't develop your gifts while you're distracted by everything and everyone around you. You cannot grow if your eyes are on everybody else's lane instead of your own. Focus is the soil where growth is planted. Without focus, seeds of your potential lie dormant. Without focus, your ideas never get watered. Without focus, your talents never mature. You see, life has a way of pulling you in 1,000 directions. Family responsibilities, work demands, friends calling, social media screaming for attention. And if you don't learn to harness your focus, you'll wake up one day realizing you've been busy, but you haven't been growing. You've been active, you haven't been productive. Focus is not just about saying yes to the right things. It's about saying no to the wrong things. It's about understanding that every yes is also a no to something else. If you keep saying yes to distractions, you're saying no to your destiny. If you keep saying yes to negativity, you're saying no to your growth. Focus requires discipline. Focus requires courage. Focus requires a willingness to be misunderstood, because the moment you start focusing on your growth, people will call you selfish. People will call you different. People will call you distant. But what they call selfishness is often survival. What they call distance is often clarity. You cannot grow if you are always accessible. You cannot grow if you are always available to everything and everybody. Focus sometimes means separation. It means pulling away from environments that drain you. It means stepping back from people who don't support where you're going. Everyone can handle the version of you that is focused. Some people only liked you distracted because distraction kept you small, and your smallness made them comfortable. But growth cannot be birthed in comfort zones. Growth demands focus. A magnifying glass in the sunlight doesn't burn paper unless it is focused. The rays of the sun are powerful, but when scattered, they are gentle. Yet when concentrated, that same light creates fire. You are the same way. Scattered, you are busy but ineffective. Focused, you are unstoppable. Scattered, your energy is wasted. Focused, your energy is multiplied. So many people fail not because they lack potential, because they lack focus. Talent without focus is wasted. Vision without focus becomes fantasy. Effort without focus becomes exhaustion. That's why some of you are tired. not because you don't have strength, but because you've been pouring that strength into too many places at once. Growth requires you to bring that strength into alignment. Growth requires you to channel your energy in the direction of your purpose. You have to make up your mind what matters most. What do you truly want? Because if you don't focus on what you want, distractions will decide for you. Let me tell you something. Distractions always look appealing. They come dressed as opportunities, as friendships, as entertainment. But in reality, they are thieves. Thieves of time, thieves of purpose, thieves of destiny. Every time you give in to distractions, you delay your growth. Every time you lose focus, you lengthen your journey. Growth requires focus because growth is a process. A seed doesn't become a tree overnight. It must stay planted. It must stay rooted. If you keep digging it up, if you keep moving it around, it will never grow. Some of you are wondering why your life feels stuck. It's because you're constantly uprooting yourself. One day you're focused. The next day you're distracted. One day you're consistent. The next day you're scattered. Growth doesn't work like that. Growth comes when you stay committed. Growth comes when you focus long enough to see results. You have to protect your focus the way a farmer protects his field. You can't just let anything trample over it. You can't let weeds of doubt, fear, and comparison choke out your growth. That's why it's so important to guard your mind, to be careful what you consume, to be mindful of what you listen to, because focus is fragile. One negative voice can break your concentration. One toxic environment can derail your progress. But when you make focus your priority, when you decide nothing is going to stop me from growing, that's when you start to see transformation. Growth requires focus because growth is not always visible in the beginning. Focus keeps you moving when results seem slow. Focus keeps you consistent when progress feels invisible. Focus keeps you disciplined when distractions are loud. And eventually, hidden growth becomes visible fruit. Eventually, what you've been working on in silence becomes undeniable in public. But none of it happens without focus. Enemy of growth is not failure, it is distraction. You can fail and still grow because failure teaches you. Failure refines you. Failure builds resilience. Distraction steals your time and gives you nothing in return. Failure is a teacher, but distraction is a thief. That is why you must protect your focus at all costs. So today, make the decision to focus. Focus on what matters most. Focus on the person you are becoming. Focus on the life you are building. Focus on the future you are stepping into. Stop scattering your energy. Stop letting distractions steal your time. Stop apologizing for pulling back so you can grow, because one day the fruit of your focus will speak louder than the opinions of those who doubted you. There comes a moment in life when you realize that waiting for others to see your worth will keep you stuck. You can spend years hoping someone else will open a door for you, validate your dreams, or fund your vision, but the truth is, your future depends on the investment you are willing to make in yourself. If you want to live differently, you must think differently. If you want to rise higher, you must invest deeper. The greatest return you will ever see in life doesn't come from stocks, real estate, business ventures. It comes from the investment you make in yourself. To invest in yourself is to recognize that you are your most valuable asset. Your mind, your health, your skills, your spirit, your vision, these are treasures that no one can take away from you. When you sharpen them, when you nurture them, when you commit to growing them, you position yourself for opportunities that others can only dream of. But if you neglect yourself, if you overlook your own growth, you will end up pouring into everyone else while running on empty. Too many people spend their lives investing in things that depreciate. They spend on appearances, on entertainment, trying to keep up with everybody else's lifestyle. They look rich on the outside, but poor on the inside, poor in peace, poor in confidence, poor in direction. True wealth is not just about money. It is about being rich in wisdom, rich in purpose, rich in discipline, rich in self-awareness. And those riches only come when you make the decision to invest in yourself. Investing in yourself means giving yourself permission to grow. It means prioritizing learning over laziness, purpose over comfort, vision over distraction. It means asking yourself, what kind of person do I want to become? What am I willing to do to get there? Because growth doesn't come by chance, it comes by choice. You don't drift into success. You build it brick by brick, decision by decision. Every book you read, every skill you sharpen, every habit you master, every hour you dedicate to self-improvement is a deposit into your future. There are people waiting for doors to open. They haven't prepared themselves to walk through those doors. Opportunity without preparation is wasted. That's why you have to invest in yourself before the opportunity shows up. Don't wait until you get the promotion to start developing leadership skills. Don't wait until you start the business to learn about discipline and financial literacy. Don't wait until life forces you to change. Start investing in yourself now, so when the moment comes, you are ready to step into it with confidence. Think about a seed. No one expects a seed to become a tree overnight, but we also know that if the seed is never planted, it will never grow. Investing in yourself is planting seeds in your future. You may not see the fruit immediately. You may not see the results overnight. But over time, compound interest of your investments begins to show. Suddenly, the hours you spent learning pay off in wisdom. The sacrifices you made for discipline pay off in strength. The choices you made to prioritize growth pay off in opportunities that others can't even imagine. Investing in yourself also means protecting your environment. You cannot grow if you keep surrounding yourself with people who drain your energy. You cannot invest in yourself if you're constantly comparing your progress to others. Part of self-investment is self-protection. Knowing when to say no, knowing when to walk away, knowing when to prioritize your peace. If you value yourself, you won't settle for relationships, environments, or habits that destroy your potential. Yeah. And let's be honest, investing in yourself costs something. It will cost you time. It will cost you energy. It will cost you comfort. Sometimes it will even cost you relationships. But anything that costs you nothing is worth nothing. Growth is not free. It demands sacrifice. But here's the good news. The return on that investment is greater than anything you could imagine. The time you spend learning will position you for a lifetime of wisdom. The discipline you cultivate today will protect you from regret tomorrow. The sacrifices you make now will produce blessings that ripple into your future. You can buy clothes, but they go out of style. You can buy cars, they lose value. You can buy things, but they break. But when you invest in yourself, that investment multiplies. No one can take it away. Education, growth, mindset, resilience. These are treasures that remain with you for life. You become a person who can create opportunities instead of waiting for them. You become someone who doesn't just survive storms, but grows stronger because of them. Investing in yourself also means healing, because you cannot grow if you're carrying brokenness you refuse to deal with. Invest in your emotional health. Invest in your healing journey. Invest in your spiritual depth. Don't just polish the outside while neglecting the inside. Take time to confront what needs to be confronted, to let go of what needs to be released, to restore what needs to be rebuilt. A healthy you will always produce more than a distracted, wounded you. Let me remind you, investing in yourself is not selfish. It's stewardship. You are responsible for the life you've been given. You are responsible for the talents you carry. You are responsible for the calling on your life. Neglecting yourself doesn't help anyone. But when you grow, when you invest in yourself, you expand your capacity to bless others, to impact others, to lead others. The stronger you are, the more people you can lift. The healthier you are, the more love you can give. The wiser you are, the more lives you can change. When you choose to invest in yourself, you declare that you believe in the person you are becoming. You declare that your vision matters, that your growth matters, that your life matters. And as you continue to invest day by day, choice by choice, sacrifice by sacrifice, you'll look back one day and realize that the person you became was worth every single investment. Life is a journey. Every journey requires you to decide what you will carry with you and what you must leave behind. The truth is, challenge you to love enough and care enough. You can't move forward if you're dragging the past. You can't climb higher if you're carrying things that were never meant to go with you. Some of you are tired, not because the road is too hard, but because you're carrying too much weight. And I'm not talking about physical weight. I'm talking about emotional weight, relational weight, mental weight, spiritual weight. You've been carrying burdens, people, situations, and memories that are slowing you down. And if you want to step into your next season, you must make a choice. You must let go of the dead weight. Dead weight comes in many forms. It can be a toxic relationship that drains your energy and steals your peace. It can be a habit that keeps you stuck in the same cycle year after year. It can be guilt, shame, or regret from the past that you keep replaying in your mind. It can be bitterness towards someone who hurt you or anger toward yourself for the mistakes you made. Dead weight can even be success that no longer serves your future. Old victories that you cling to so tightly that you can't embrace new ones. Whatever form it takes, dead weight is anything that no longer contributes to your growth, but still demands your energy. It keeps you from rising. Imagine a runner trying to compete in a race while dragging heavy chains. They might be strong enough to take a few steps, but eventually the weight will slow them down, wear them out, and rob them of their endurance. That's what happens when you refuse to let go. You're trying to run toward your destiny while dragging things that should have been left behind long ago. And as long as you hold on to what's dead, you'll never fully embrace what's alive. Letting go of dead weight requires courage because sometimes what's holding you back is familiar. Sometimes you've carried it for so long that you don't even know who you are without it. That toxic relationship has become your comfort zone. That destructive habit has become your routine. That pain from the past has become part of your identity. But just because something feels familiar doesn't mean it's good for you. Familiarity can be a prison. Familiarity can trick you into believing that bondage is normal. But deep down, you know you were made for freedom. You were made for growth. You were made to soar, and soaring requires you to cut ties with anything that's keeping you grounded. Some of you are waiting for God to open new doors. You haven't closed the old ones. You're asking for fresh opportunities, but your hands are too full to receive them. You're asking for clarity, but your mind is too cluttered with noise. You're asking for peace, but you're still entertaining chaos. Growth doesn't just require addition, it requires subtraction. To rise into your future, you must release what belongs to your past. To make room for what's next, you must let go of what's no longer serving you. Now, letting go doesn't always mean you stop caring. It doesn't mean you erase your memories. It doesn't mean you pretend like it never happened. Letting go means you refuse to let what hurt you define you. It means you no longer allow what's behind you to dictate what's ahead of you. It means you stop carrying things that were never meant for your next chapter. Because some people, some seasons, some experiences, they were only meant to be temporary, and that's okay. Not everyone is supposed to walk with you forever. Some were only meant to teach you, to shape you, to prepare you. But when their time is up, you've got to release them. The reason some of you feel stuck is because you're trying to take permanent baggage from temporary seasons into your permanent future. You're dragging people who don't want to grow. You're carrying relationships that don't align with your purpose. You're holding on to habits that contradict your vision. And you wonder why it feels so heavy. It feels heavy because you're carrying things that were never assigned to your destiny. You are not responsible for carrying everyone. You are not obligated to hold on to what's breaking you. You are not called to drag that weight just because you feel guilty. Love people, yes. Forgive people, absolutely. But don't let loyalty turn into self-destruction. Don't let compassion turn into bondage. Sometimes the best thing you can do for yourself and for them is to let go. Because as long as you hold on, you're not just delaying your growth, you're delaying theirs. Letting go of dead weight is not weakness, it's wisdom. It takes strength to hold on, but it takes even greater strength to release. It takes maturity to look at something you once cherished and admit, this no longer belongs in my life. It takes courage to walk away from the familiar into the unknown, trusting that what's ahead is greater than what's behind. But that is the essence of growth. Growth demands release. Growth demands pruning. Growth demands that you stop clinging to what was and start reaching for what can be. Think about an airplane preparing for takeoff. Before it lifts off the ground, it goes through weight checks. If it's carrying too much cargo, it cannot rise. If it's overloaded, it risks crashing. That's how life works. You cannot fly into your destiny carrying excess baggage. You must release the weight or you will never rise. What do I need to let go of? What am I carrying that's slowing me down? Who am I holding on to that no longer aligns with my future? What emotions, habits, fears am I dragging into a season where they don't belong? These are not easy questions, but they are necessaries because the quality of your future depends on the courage you have to release your past. The beauty of letting go is that it creates space. When you release dead weight, you free your hands to receive new blessings. When you let go of toxic relationships, you make room for healthy ones. When you let go of regret, you make space for healing. When you let go of fear, you create room for faith. Every release is a doorway to renewal. So today, make the choice to let go of the dead weight. Don't carry into tomorrow what was only meant for yesterday. Don't waste your strength dragging chains that were never meant to bind you. Don't let the comfort of familiarity rob you of the freedom of growth. Release it, release them. Release it all. Because the lighter you travel, the higher you can rise. Clarity is one of the most underestimated forces in life. Too many people are living without it, and because of that, they are drifting, wandering, and settling for far less than what they were created to be. When you don't know where you're going, you'll waste your energy on places you don't belong. When you don't know who you are, you'll let other people define you. When you don't know what matters most, you'll spend your time on things that matter least. But when you have clarity, something shifts. When your vision is sharp, your focus is unshakable, and your direction is set, you become unstoppable. That's why clarity is power. Clarity is not just about seeing with purpose. A camera without focus produces blurry images, no matter how beautiful the scenery. The same is true in life. Without clarity, your efforts will be scattered, your goals will be vague, and your results will be inconsistent. Once you know who you are, what you value, and where you're going, every step you take carries weight. Every decision becomes intentional. Every sacrifice makes sense. The enemy of clarity is confusion. Confusion clouds your judgment, distorts your vision, and keeps you stuck in cycles of hesitation. Have you ever noticed how draining it is to live in uncertainty? To go back and forth, to second guess yourself, to keep changing your direction? Confusion is exhausting. It steals your peace and weakens your confidence. But when clarity comes, it brings peace. It brings conviction. It brings confidence. Because you are no longer wondering. You know your purpose, you know your priorities, you know your boundaries, and you know your goals. Clarity is power because it gives you direction. Life is too short to wander aimlessly. If you don't set your own direction, someone else will set it for you. If you don't decide what matters, the world will distract you with what doesn't. Clarity says, this is who I am. This is where I'm going. This is what I refuse to settle for. When you have clarity, you stop chasing everything and start pursuing the right things. You stop wasting time on distractions and start investing time in your destiny. Clarity also gives you resilience. When you're clear about your why, you can endure almost anyhow. When you're clear about your purpose, setbacks don't destroy you. They refine you. Challenges don't paralyze you. They prepare you. People's opinions don't define you. They roll off of you. Because clarity anchors you. It roots you in something deeper than circumstances. When storms come, clarity keeps you standing. When distractions scream, clarity keeps you focused. Opportunities arise, clarity helps you discern which ones align with your calling and which ones are just detours. Too many people are saying yes to things they should have said no to simply because they lack clarity. They don't know their values, so they compromise them. They don't know their priorities, so they abandon them. They don't know their goals, so they waste energy on someone else's goals. But when you're clear, it becomes easier. Boundaries become stronger. Discipline becomes natural. Because you're not just reacting, you're responding with purpose. Clarity doesn't just change how you see life, it changes how you see yourself. Some of you have been living under labels that other people gave you. You've been defined by your past mistakes, your upbringing, or other people's opinions. But clarity says, I am not my past. I am not their opinion. I am not their label. I am who I was created to be. I know my worth. That kind of clarity gives you confidence to step boldly into rooms where you once felt unqualified. It gives you the courage to pursue dreams that once felt impossible. It gives you the strength to walk away from situations that no longer honor your value. Clarity is power because it turns intentions into action. So many people have good intentions. They want to change, they want to grow, they want to improve, but intentions without clarity become procrastination. You can't just want better, you need a clear picture of what better looks like. You can't just wish for change, you need clarity about what you're willing to do to make it happen. Clarity transforms vague wishes into concrete goals, goals into disciplined actions. Think about a laser beam. Light in its natural form is scattered and soft, but when that same light is concentrated into a laser, it becomes powerful enough to cut through steel. Your life works the same way. Scattered focus produces scattered results. Concentrated clarity produces unstoppable power. Clarity also brings peace of mind. So many of us carry unnecessary stress because we are juggling things that don't align with our priorities. We're saying yes to too much, trying to please too many people, and living according to other people's expectations. But once you get clarity on what matters, you start simplifying. Stop overcommitting. You stop stretching yourself thin. You realize that saying no to what doesn't matter is saying yes to what does. And suddenly, life feels lighter, simpler, and more meaningful. Clarity doesn't just appear. You don't stumble into it. Clarity requires work. It requires reflection, honesty, and sometimes painful self-examination. It requires asking yourself tough questions. Who am I really? What do I want? What do I value most? What am I willing to sacrifice for my future? What needs to change for me to grow? Clarity requires sitting still long enough to hear the answers and brave enough to act on them. And here's the beauty: once you gain clarity, you don't just transform your own life, you inspire others. People are drawn to clarity. They are drawn to leaders, friends, partners who know who they are and where they're going. When you walk with clarity, you give others permission to do the same. Your life becomes a model of purpose, discipline, and courage. Clarity is the difference between existing and living. It's the difference between wandering and walking with purpose. It's the difference between wasting time and redeeming time. It's the difference between being lost in the crowd and standing out in your calling. Clarity is power because it gives you vision, it gives you confidence, it gives you resilience, and it gives you peace. Don't settle for a blurry life. Don't settle for uncertainty. Do the work to get clear on who you are, clear on what you want, clear on where you're going, because the clearer you are, the stronger you become. And once you have clarity, no obstacle can stop you, no distraction can derail you, and no opinion can shake you. Life is a journey. The beauty of a journey is that you are not meant to stay the same. You are not supposed to remain who you were 10 years ago, 5 years ago, even 1 year ago. Growth is a sign of life. Change is a sign of progress. Transformation is evidence that you are moving forward. And yet, so many people feel guilty for evolving. They feel pressure to apologize for no longer fitting into the version of themselves that others were comfortable with. Let me remind you today, never apologize for evolving. The moment you decide to grow, not everyone will celebrate it. Some will question you. Some will resist you. Some will even accuse you of changing. But isn't that the point? You are supposed to change. You are supposed to outgrow certain environments, outgrow certain relationships, outgrow certain mindsets. If you are the same person year after year, you are not truly living. You are just existing. Evolution is proof that you refuse to stay stuck in the same cycles. It is proof that you are becoming who you were always meant to be. People who don't want to grow will always criticize those who do. They will call you arrogant because you set boundaries. They will call you distant because you protect your peace. They will call you selfish because you start investing in yourself. But their opinion is not your responsibility. You don't owe them an apology for becoming wiser, stronger, and more focused. You don't owe anyone an explanation for choosing to evolve into the highest version of yourself. The truth is, some people love the version of you that was broken because your brokenness made them comfortable. Some love the version of you that was insecure because your insecurity made them feel strong. Some love the version of you that settled because your settling justified their own excuses. But once you evolve, once you begin to heal, once you start to walk in confidence, you disrupt their comfort. And instead of celebrating you, they try to guilt you into shrinking back. Don't fall for it. Your growth is not a betrayal. It is your responsibility. Never apologize for setting higher standards. Never apologize for leaving behind toxic relationships. Never apologize for dreaming bigger than the people around you can understand. Never apologize for evolving into the version of yourself that aligns with your purpose. Because the truth is, if they were meant to be part of your evolution, they would grow with you. If they were meant to stay, they would celebrate your transformation instead of resenting it. Evolution often requires separation. You cannot soar if you are chained to people who are committed to crawling. You cannot grow if you are surrounded by those who resist growth. That's why some doors had to close. That's why some relationships had to end. That's why some environments no longer feel right. It's not rejection, it's redirection. It's life's way of pruning you, of removing what no longer serves your future so you can step fully into your destiny. Evolving also means letting go of your old self. It means shedding the versions of you that no longer serve who you are becoming. You cannot walk into a new season with the same mindset that held you back in the last one. You cannot carry old wounds, old fears, old excuses into a future that demands strength, faith, and courage. Evolution means choosing growth over comfort, purpose over popularity, destiny over approval. Evolution is not always glamorous. Growth can be painful. Transformation can be lonely. Shedding old versions of yourself can feel like loss. You will grieve the familiar even when the familiar was broken. You will feel the sting of distance from people who once felt close. You will question yourself, wonder if you're doing the right thing, and sometimes feel the weight of walking a path few understand. But on the other side of that pain is freedom. On the other side of that discomfort is strength. The other side of that loneliness is purpose. You were not created to stay small. You were not designed to stay hidden. You were not meant to live trapped in the same cycles forever. You were made to grow, to stretch, to expand, to evolve. Every time you step into a new version of yourself, you are honoring the potential that was placed inside of you. Every time you refuse to apologize for evolving, you are declaring that your life has value, your dreams have meaning, your destiny is worth the discomfort of change. Some will misunderstand your evolution, but that's okay. They are not supposed to understand. Evolution is personal. It's between you, your purpose, and your creator. Don't waste your energy trying to convince people who are committed to misunderstanding you. Don't shrink yourself to fit into spaces you've already outgrown. Don't dim your light to make others feel comfortable in their darkness. The world doesn't need a smaller version of you. The world needs the evolved version of you. Think about a butterfly. Butterfly never apologizes for outgrowing the cocoon. It doesn't say, "I'm sorry for having wings now." It doesn't feel guilty for flying while others are still crawling. It doesn't look back and wish it could be a caterpillar again just to make others comfortable. It embraces its evolution because that is what it was created for. And so are you. You were created to evolve, to grow wings, to rise higher. Never apologize for evolving because your evolution inspires others. The very people who criticize you today may one day look to you as proof that transformation is possible. Your courage to grow may be the very thing that gives someone else the courage to start their own journey. Your evolution is not just about you. It's about the lives connected to you, the impact you're destined to make, the legacy you're called to leave. So walk boldly in your growth. Embrace your evolution. Don't explain it, don't shrink it, and don't apologize for it. Those who want to misunderstand fall away. Let those who want to stay small remain where they are. But as for you, keep rising, keep stretching, keep stepping into the highest version of yourself. Because at the end of the day, your responsibility is not to keep everyone else comfortable, it's to fulfill your destiny. And you cannot fulfill your destiny by staying the same. You cannot step into greatness by refusing to evolve. So never apologize for evolving. Never apologize for choosing growth. Never apologize for becoming more.